Oh, what brought me to South Africa on the last occasion? I just had an interest to go. Originally, I went to Zimbabwe on a study abroad experience, and that took me to the continent of Africa. And I wanted to go back, and I just raised money on my own, just had saved some savings for the last trip I took, and went over to South Africa just to travel around and check things out. While I was there, I stayed in a variety of hostels and hotels all around South Africa. I just found places and that were affordable and that I thought were safe since I was traveling alone as a woman. My first day arriving in South Africa, I arrived in Johannesburg, and I always make hotel arrangements for the first night wherever I go so I don't have to be scurrying about being afraid. So I had a hotel in a place called Sandton, which is a suburb, and I stayed there. And I can't remember the name of it, but I have some pictures of it. It was actually a pretty nice place, but it was very, very affordable. So I stayed there for about 3 days and took a tour of Johannesburg, went up to Pretoria, went out to Soweto, and went hanging out downtown in Johannesburg, went out dancing, that kind of thing. Soweto is huge. I didn't realize how big Soweto was. It is just enormous. I sort of had this idea of it being just a small city, kind of like Hamtramck or something like that. But it's a really big area, and there are 10 different divisions to that place. The difference in a neighborhood of housing is not like being in Detroit, but but the difference in being in one area that is strictly sort of it's shanty housing, housing that is made from bed springs or foam or whatever you can find. And I have some photographs of that. There's housing made with some concrete and that sort of thing. And then you go over into another area which is maybe 3 kilometers away, and you have these beautiful homes with this gorgeous brick and fencing, and I was really surprised by that. In terms of the people in the beautiful areas fearing crime from the poor areas, that was a palpable sense of fear, and you can see it in not only just talking to people, but just in the ways that people choose to live, with security measures that they take. There are fences, high fences. There's not ADT security decals, but there are security decals and high fences and other security measures that people take to ward off criminals. Talked to lots of people, and some people were shocked that in Durban, people were shocked that I didn't speak Zulu. So, especially when you do things like go to the hairdresser, you go to the tailor, or just things that regular people would do, and then you go in and people think, oh, you don't speak Zulu. And I said, no, I don't speak Zulu. So there wasn't even a perception at first until I opened my mouth that I was American. But there was still this, I still found again on this experience the idea that Americans, black Americans, are generally wealthy and have a greater access to opportunity and live better lifestyles than our African brothers. Pretoria is a small, beautiful city, and I'm trying to think of a small, beautiful city, maybe Savannah. Savannah, Georgia has beautiful jacandra trees, and they're just. It's a really nice city. It has nice architecture within the city center. The seat of the government, well, they rotate the seat of the government in the new ANC government. Johannesburg is a really big city, and it's it's not like any U.S. city that I can think of because of the mining. Because you see all these areas that have been mined, and you see this dredged out earth, and I have never seen that in the U.S. Cape Town is very much kind of like a part of New York City to me because it's by the water and the storefronts are small, and it's very cosmopolitan in that way. Durban is off the ocean, and that would probably be almost like San Diego because of the shipping, although there are not a lot of there are no army bases there, but it's beautiful in that way. Well, I was in Zimbabwe, and I was greeted very warmly in Zimbabwe and made very good friends there. And when I went to South Africa, it was a bit daunting because I was a woman alone traveling. And even with that, I was still greeted warmly by people that I met and talked with people. And I wasn't treated differently by white people or Indians or by black Africans in South Africa. So I had a good experience.